Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with yet another live stream. It's that time of the evening again, 7:35 p.m. Tuesday, the 2nd of April. Hopefully everybody got over the 1st of April, didn't get fooled by an April Fool's prank. Saw a couple of them in the press, obviously not here in Spain, because Spain doesn't celebrate April Fool's Day. They have their own day. I think it's the 28th of December, so no pranks here, but plenty of pranks in the Australian press that I saw, and also on in the American newspapers and British newspapers, lots of April Fool's Day pranks. Now today we're going to have a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press. We'll also have a look at some comments that have been left on the channel recently, so stay tuned for that. And around the 20-minute mark of this evening's live stream, we'll go into the chat section here, which I have to my right, and check out what is happening in that chat section. So, straight into the news, and good news for the autonomous community of Andellucia, because it won't need to bring water by boat this summer because of the drought thanks to Easter rains. The rains this Easter have been a real godsend for Andalusia. They have given a respite to the reservoirs, some of which have even begun to release water to prevent them from overflowing, and have allowed the spectre of restrictions to be banished in one of the communities most affected by the drought. It has been years since Andalusia has experienced such a wet holiday, with rainfall that has been particularly abundant in provinces such as Cádiz, Granada and Malaga, where more than 100 litres per square metre have accumulated in one day, according to Hydrosur records. In view of this situation, the president of the Junta de Andalucía, Juanma Moreno, said on Monday that it will not be necessary to bring in ships loaded with water this summer thanks to the relief brought by the rainfall. And of course, bringing water in by ship or by boat was one of the plans that they had down there in Andalusia. Don't really think they worked out where they were going to get the water from, but they were hoping to maybe go to Portugal and get some of that water. Maybe other parts of Spain, places with more abundant rainfall, could have given some water to Andalusia. But now, because of that heavy rainfall over the Easter period, which unfortunately ruined a lot of religious processions for a lot of people, very important down there in Andalusia are the religious processions, but I'm not sure what people would prefer. Water restrictions or a lack of water restrictions or Easter processions. If you can have both, fantastic. But if you have to choose, don't know. Let us know what you think people would have chosen if they had to choose. Next piece of news here, and Oscar Puente, the Transport Minister, threatens to take action against rail operator Wego for unfair competition and harm to Renfe. Oscar Puente, Minister of Transport and Sustainable Mobility, gave an interview to Onda Cero radio station where he discussed topics such as the amnesty law, the Coldo case, and what he described as unfair competition from the French company Wego. The latter has provoked harsh statements by the former mayor of Valladolid, who assures that different formulas are being studied, including the possibility of going to the National Commission of Markets and Competition for what he considers deeply unfair practices of the French railway company Wego in the high-speed market, a market where it competes directly with other operators such as Renfe. So this minister clearly got it in for the Renfe competition, the competition that the former, still is a state operator, Renfe has in the high-speed rail operations here in Spain. Only certain lines are operated by this other company and another company as well. I think there are 3 companies now offering high-speed rail services, mainly from Madrid to Barcelona, Madrid to Valencia, Madrid, Malaga, some of the main routes, let's say, of the high-speed rail network here. Nobody's interested in some of the other high-speed routes, but those ones, the more popular ones, yes, there is interest. And those other 2 companies, apparently, according to Mr. Puente, have been slashing prices, and it is unfair competition for the company Renfe. And I saw on the news yesterday, for example, if you wanted to go from Madrid to Barcelona, I think this Friday they were trying to buy tickets for. The highest price on Renfe was 130 euros. Don't quote me on that exact figure. Whereas on Wego, you could pick up a ticket for around 50, the maximum, starting at around 16. Renfe also has cheap seats, but not many, whereas Wego seems to have a lot more cheap seats. And also the other company, which is called Irgo. So IRY, is it Irgo or Irgo or something? I don't know exactly. I think it's Irgo and Wego, the two competition companies to Renfe, the state operator. Next piece of news here, and the Ministry of the Interior, or the Home Ministry, has opened an investigation into allegations of police violence in Lavapiés, which is a Madrid neighbourhood. The Interior Ministry has opened an ex officio investigation following complaints by anti-racist organisations of police violence over a procedure this Friday in the Madrid neighbourhood of Lavapiés against two migrants that was recorded on video. The investigation, opened by the Interior Ministry, will be carried out by the National Office for the Guarantee of Human Rights, which is responsible for ensuring that the state security forces and corps respect the fundamental rights of individuals during their actions. The Interior Ministry assures that they analyse facts and actions that may reveal an alleged violation of the fundamental rights of individuals on the occasion of a police action. The intervention of the national police officers, which resulted in the arrest of two migrants, has been rejected by anti-racist organisations and parties such as Podemos, Sumar and Mas Madrid. And those three political parties belonging to the left side of politics in Spain, and not happy with the video that was published on social media. X, I think, was the platform. X, formerly Twitter, as people say. And pretty violent scenes of two police officers. One police officer on the ground with one of these African migrants in question in a headlock, not allowing him to get out of the headlock. And the other police officer, for whatever reason, starts to hit the other person with a stick. He asks the person to sit down. The person starts arguing or something. Out comes the stick and whack, whack, whack. And of course, recorded on social media, which was pretty damning for the police officers, let's be honest. But again, we don't know the whole story. And I'm sure there is a story behind it. And the police officers will have their say in this investigation. But an example of police violence, if you like. Justified? Again, don't know. Wasn't there. But some people will say that it was justified. Some people will say that it wasn't justified. But I'll let you guys be the judge if you watch the video and read the whole story, which is always a good idea. Next one here, and Spain received 5 million foreign tourists in February, 16% more than a year earlier. Spain received 5 million international tourists in February, 15.9% more than in the same month of 2023, who spent 6 billion or over 6 billion, 6.747 billion euros, a record figure for a month of February, and 8.8% more than a year earlier, according to data published on Tuesday by the National Statistics Institute, the INE. According to the INE surveys on the entry of foreign travellers and associated expenditure, in the first 2 months of 2024, the number of tourists increased by 15.6% and reached 9.8 million. Tourists from the UK were the most numerous in February, with just under 1 million individuals, representing a 20% or an increase of 20.3% since February 2023. The next group was from France, 619,000, 1.4% less, and then Germans, 592,000, 11.3% more. So there we go. British visitors in Spain up in February, 20.3% on last year's figures, and Germans also, but the French numbers are down for whatever reason, got no idea. But Spain continuing to be the most popular destination, I believe, for people from the United Kingdom, for various reasons. Into the comment section now, and this one here from Jose Antonio. And OTAN no, or NATO no, buses fuera, not NATO, bases outside, get away. This was the motto the PSOE party made up before being at the helm in the 1980s. Later on the road, a socialist minister was Secretary General of NATO, the one who, years before, wrote a pamphlet titled 100 Reasons to Say No to NATO. On a lighter note, the mayonnaise was not invented in May, but in Mahón, mayonesa or mayonesa in Spanish. Mayonnaise or mayonesa in Spanish. Jose Antonio, thanks for the comment. I went to Wikipedia to check whether, in fact, mayonnaise originated from the island of Menorca and the city of Mahón. And to my surprise, there is some doubt as to whether that is the case. The French have claimed it. Some people dispute the French claiming the invention of mayonnaise, and some people do, in fact, say that it comes from Mahón, which makes sense if you look at the name. Mayonesa, Mahón in Spanish, mayonnaise, of course, in English. So wherever mayonnaise originated from, whether it was France, whether it was from the Balearic island of Menorca, I don't know. But it was a great invention and has kept many a sandwich moist over the years, has mayonnaise. And when it comes to NATO, we saw the other day that Spain has rejected setting up a third NATO base. There's two already, one in Cartagena and one in Rota in Cádiz, Cartagena in Murcia, of course. And Mahón was supposed to be the third NATO base, but the Spanish government changed its mind and said no. And what Jose Antonio points out here is also true, that back in the 1980s, the Socialist Party was against NATO, and a socialist minister back in the day who was very anti-NATO went on to become the Secretary General of that organization. Javier Solana was his name. So it just goes to show that people can change their opinions over the years if they get offered a nice little earner, right? Next one here from Andres. The late night culture is alive and well. In my visits to Bilbao, even old people were out with their grandkids having food and drink and taking walks at midnight. Kids played soccer and played on play equipment while the parents and adults were nearby in a cafe. I wish our culture in the US allowed this. I'm 65 and young family members don't hang out with me. Amazing. Sorry to hear that, Andres, that the younger members of your family don't want to hang out with granddad. 65 years old, of course, not that old. Here in Spain, as Andres points out, you do see intergenerational mixing, let's say. When people go out, you quite often see grandparents sitting at the table. You quite often see parents sitting at the table, cousins, other relatives, and of course the kids all playing together. And at family dinners and family lunches, which is something that a lot of people enjoy, the family atmosphere that you get, especially in smaller towns where it's quite common to see this happening. In smaller cities, in Madrid, it's harder to see because there's a lot more people. But when you go to small towns in Spain, you do see exactly that. Maybe the parents are having lunch, the parents are having a drink, different generations socializing together, and the kids are off playing in a safe environment because the older kids look after the younger kids, which is what happened when I was young also. But some people say that that's gone away nowadays. Don't know. Let me know what you think on the topic. Next one here from Rose. I live in Canada in the province of Ontario. Our bars are open until 2 a.m. In Quebec, it is later. What is the big deal? Says Rose. Well, the big deal, Rose, here in Spain is the opening hours of restaurants, more so than bars. You can find bars open late in virtually every country in the world. Maybe in North Korea, you might be hard-fetched to find a bar that's open late, or maybe in China, I don't know. But in Spain, Canada, the UK, other European countries, Australia, of course, you can find bars that are open late night. But restaurants normally no. In Australia, for example, you'd be hard-fetched to get a meal after 11 p.m, whereas here in Spain, until 1 p.m. at weekends, you can quite often get a meal. And that's what the minister was complaining about, that they're very long hours, considering the fact that the person's also been working most likely, at lunchtime as well. Whereas, again, in Australia, restaurants, the restaurants that I know, they only open in the evenings. They don't often open for lunch. Maybe if they're in a CBD, a central business area or district, they will open for lunch, but a lot of restaurants don't. They are nighttime operators only. But here in Spain, lunchtime and dinner. And some people find themselves working both shifts, especially the chefs. And that's the issue that Ms. Diaz was trying to stop. So yeah, in Ontario, Quebec, you get bars that are open late, but I don't reckon you get a restaurant that's open very late, maybe except a McDonald's or something like that, if you can call that a restaurant, of course. Another one here from the Barriou. We have a law in the US that prostitution is illegal, and it is still prevalent, although you can go to jail for it. There are just not enough police to put a stop to it, and many other crimes are more important to deal with. Yeah, I'm sure the Spanish police will tell you exactly the same thing, that there are more important crimes than prostitution to worry about. Although you have to keep an eye on prostitution to make sure that people are not being exploited, which is a real issue here in Spain, or at least it has been over the years. Women exploited in that profession. So you've got to keep an eye on that. And but as we saw yesterday, the Spanish government wants to prohibit prostitution here in Spain. So all of the, what are they called, brothels around the country, quite often when you're driving on Spanish roads, you'll see a sign up with a girl dancing, and you know that that is indeed a brothel. And there are many scattered around the country, especially on some of the main highways on the outskirts of big cities. You will find often these places. And other types of prostitution as well. In big cities, you will see girls on the side of the street, mainly girls, I'll say. You probably see male prostitution as well. But the government is most likely trying to ban female prostitution. And they're going to try, but I don't know whether it will be possible to eradicate altogether. I've got no idea, to be honest. And as the person in this comment points out, yeah, it's illegal, but it's still prevalent because it's very, very difficult to stop. And yeah, so good luck with that. Another one here from Helen. I thought Ciudadela was the capital. Well, it was, Helen, until 1720 or something, or maybe 1750 or something like that. It was the capital of Menorca. You are right. But then it became Mahon, or Mao in the local language. So you're right, it was the capital, but over 200 or 300 years ago. Bob, another comment here, valued member is Bob. For 1,000+ years, law enforcement and governments have tried to stamp out prostitution without success. It is stopped, but just resurfaces elsewhere. Why not just control it, as it will never stop? But hey, that's just my opinion. Yeah, good advice there, and good idea, Bob. Just try to control it rather than try to make it illegal, because it does resurface everywhere. I remember I lived in Madrid many, many years ago, and on one of the main streets in my neighborhood, there was street prostitution. I don't know where the women came from exactly, but they were African-looking women, and there were literally hundreds of them on the side of the street. And then all of a sudden it disappeared. Where it went to, I've got no idea. But somebody told me that in an industrial area to the south of Madrid, you could find the same women doing their job down there. So they got rid of it from one place, but it resurfaced in another place, which is exactly what Bob says. And for 1,000+ years, people have tried to stamp it out without any success. So again, good luck with that. And the final one here from Michael, early sea swimming. Just remember, sharks like to feed in the early hours of the morning, says Michael. Yes, Michael, yes, warning people that swim in the sea too early, that there could be sharkies around. But in my experience, coming from a coastal city, Perth is its name, where the beach was never far away from where I was living, you would see lots of people swimming in the early hours of the morning. Maybe not before the sun came up, that could be a bit risky, but when the sun comes up, you see surfers in the water, 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. Whenever the sun comes up, people are surfing, people are swimming, people are enjoying the coastal lifestyle, and I don't see too many people getting eaten by sharks in Australia. Although the sharks are in the water, as we know, considering the amount of people in the water enjoying the beach and the ocean, not many people get taken by sharks. Or at least that's been my experience. And here in Spain, even less. Now, we're going to go into the chat section in just a minute. Before I do, I'm going to change the backdrop. This photo was sent in from Kevin, and it's a picture of Maraña, which is in Leon. And the snow that obviously has fallen in that area recently. The north of Spain has been quite snowy in recent times with the recent storm that hit the Iberian Peninsula and other parts of Europe. And so we have a snow shot. And let's be honest, we don't see many snow shots. We see lots of shots of the beach, the mountains, but here we've got a mountain with snow. So thanks, Kevin, for sending that one through. And I'll just put it on the backdrop now. If you've got a similar picture or a picture of anything Spain-related, please, the email address is spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free to send them through to that email address. Also, if you've got something that you would like to bring to my attention, news article, anything else related to Spain, that's the email address. Feel free to write. And if you write asking me a question, it might take me a while to get back to you because I have been inundated with emails in recent times. So it does take me a while to get back to them, but I get around to it eventually, hopefully, if it doesn't go off my radar. Also, if you haven't hit the like icon yet, please do so. 56 likes currently, 204 people watching, so a pretty poor ratio. So if you can hit the like button, please, we'll see if we can get it up to a decent tally today. So consider it, please, hitting the like button below the video. Thanks to people that have supported the channel, of course, whether it's on the Super Thanks option here on YouTube, the Super Thanks option in the chat section, you can support the channel that way. Buying me a coffee, always a good way to support the channel. A nice café con leche always goes down well on a spring morning. And also for longer-term supporters on Patreon, thank you very much for that support. It's greatly appreciated, as is the support of people that have joined the channel recently as members, which is a fairly new initiative, but we're now up to 41, I think. So never know, if you become a member of this channel for $1.99 a month minimum, you get early access to videos. I always release them first to members. You also get a badge next to your name and other perks as well you will get. So consider that also. Now into the chat. I'm going to go. Let's scroll up to the top, I should say, not stroll. First one here is from Alan. No, it's actually not from Alan. It's from Andrew. I saw Alan's name mentioned in another comment. Hola, Stuart and all. Espero que estéis bien desde Londres sureste. So Andrew practicing his Spanish, which is good to see. Good to see. Morris coming in also, practicing Spanish also. Buenas tardes a todos. Thanks, Morris, for that. Good afternoon to you too, or good evening, I should say. James and Kathy coming in from Worcester, the land of the sauce. Raining again today. Surprise, surprise. Great sauce is Worcester, I must say. It goes down a treat on some foods, does Worcestershire sauce. Do you get it cheaper in Worcester? Is it? Do you get like with olive oil here? You have contacts in the industry that gave you maybe a batch of Worcester sauce a bit cheaper than the supermarket. Let us know. Jonathan coming in from Montevideo, also a valued member is Jonathan. Fall is there. Yeah, Southern Hemisphere. Fall is there. Of course, spring is here. Fall is there. Thumbs up from Nikki as always. Haven't seen Nikki for a while, but good to see Nikki in the chat today. Sani, a regular viewer, coming in from Basingstoke, visiting family in Valencia on Thursday for a whole week. Hope that goes well, Sani. Alan coming in from Rancho Pesquinitos, California, San Diego suburb it is. Uncle Al or Tio Al checking in. Also practicing his Spanish is Alan for his upcoming return to El Puerto de Santa Maria down there in the south of Spain. Paul Gerard, valued member also. Hoping we had a great Easter. Enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you very much, Paul, for that. Easter was hampered by the weather, of course, but apart from that, always good to have some time off from the regular routine for kids and for people that work for companies. Not me, because I have to work basically 7 days a week, but I managed to have a good work-life balance in the rest of my time. What else we got going on here? One from John, High Flyer, also a valued member. Managed to get some cheap flights, so we're back in Almeria on the 13th. Have a great week. Thanks, John, for that. Have a great week too. Leslie, I only found the channel last week. So far, so good. I'm in North Murcia, and a person who is turquoise waving. Thanks, Leslie, for that. Good to see that you've found the channel, and that so far it has been so good. Barbara, valued member 2, coming in from Jerez de la Frontera. Been a pleasant dry day there. Barbara travelling a fair bit recently, I must say. Janet coming in from Oxford, United Kingdom. Ellie coming in from Pasadena, California. It's me, don't know who it's me is, but saying hello from Washington, D.C. Or Maryland, I'm not sure. On my way to Madrid today, says it's me. I hope you have a good trip. Darren coming in from Sidcup, I think that is, southeast London. Had a downpour in Dartford this morning, but has been cloudy and fine. What's a red number plate? What are the red number plate on the back of trailers on Spanish lorries? Good question. Don't know, but I'm sure somebody will be able to answer the question, Darren. I'm sure they will. Bronny coming in from Wales, I think it is, Bronny. Good news about the rain levels in Andellucia, heading there this summer. Well, hopefully they'll get a bit more rain as well to fill those dams up even more. Giles coming in. G'day, mate. G'day, Giles. Kim coming in too. Great news for the rain, but goodness me, it's been horrible and done a significant amount of damage. Never mind forwards and onwards. Costly, though. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? The storms are strong nowadays, Kim. The storms are strong. They really hit with a vengeance, as we have seen. People unfortunately lose their lives, but that's what we're dealing with nowadays. In Spain especially, these very heavy downpours where people are just not prepared, or they're caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Cars getting taken off into rivers, or being washed down roads that are flooded with water. Complicated. Leslie's in Yecla, to be exact, which is an inland place, also quite hot as well, I think. El Conquistador coming in from Florida, San Augustine Beach, Florida's touch of Spain, founded by the Spanish 458 years ago. Thanks for that. Bit of a history lesson there. Andrew also saying hello to, answering Darren's. An HGV trailer has to have its own number plate, which, as you say, is red. Regards from Mottingham is red. Don't mess with the Spanish police, says Leslie. Yeah, that would be my advice as well, because they're quick to get the stick out. They're not really very good communicators, the Spanish police. You can't really have a conversation with them. My experience with police officers over the years in England, when I had a run-in with some police one time, very communicative. You could converse. They weren't quick to get out the stick, unless, of course, you're in a delicate situation. And in Australia as well, you can converse with the police. But here, yeah, quick to get out the stick for some reason, especially if you look to be causing trouble. And I've been at football games where police on horseback have just ridden past, whacking people indiscriminately, whether you are involved in an altercation or not. Bang, bang, bang. They don't take those things lightly, do the police here. And also with other disturbances that we have seen in recent times outside political party headquarters, the stick comes out quickly. Looks like despite the best efforts of the tabloid press, British people are still visiting Spain. Absolutely, Jonathan, of course, because Spain has everything that people want, right? It's a little bit cheaper, or at least it used to be. The sun shines most of the year. The weather's warmer, and people have made some parts of Spain their home, and they've created a nice community for people to visit. Go to a place like Benidorm, you can drink a pint in the sun. Try doing that in parts of England in the middle of February. It's impossible, unless you get a nice day, which is very rare. Kim saying, goodness, I wonder how the overwhelmed police forces in the UK are going to cope with locking up the homeless or those that smell. Goodness me. Same here in Greece. Grandparents usually bring up the kids because mum and dad are at work. Also, the village bring up the children. Yeah, That's how it works here in smaller towns especially. That's it. 24-hour restaurants in California, according to Alan. There we go. Of course, but I'm sure people would be working 3 shifts, maybe not working a 12, 14-hour shift. I don't know, to be honest, but yeah, the Labor Minister sure wants to change things, but difficult. Andrew's saying that his experience of living here is that everyone looks out for the safety and well-being of kids regardless of whether they are yours or someone else's. Yeah, again, in big cities a little bit less, of course, but in general I would say that is true. David coming in from Torrevieja, down there in Alicante. Prostitution is not a victimless crime. Many rapes and robberies, absolutely. So there needs to be some type of control because, as we said before, or at least we came to the conclusion, I think, Alan, that's very, very difficult to eradicate. So you have to try to probably control it if you can. Make sure that this type of thing doesn't happen, of course. That goes for Portugal too, according to Solar Life here. We had a 3-year-old go missing for nearly a week and they found him on a main road. In London, 2 days would mean he's a goner. Again, big city, I don't know if there's a difference, of course. Leslie has a story here, funny story. When we had the tour of Spain coming through the area, and a lady off the road went off with a punter, and a while away, crowds arrived around her chair. There we go. Went off with a punter, did the lady. Punter, for those not familiar with the word, is a customer. So we can get what type of idea. See type of a person we're dealing with. See Sun, sureste de Londres. Where exactly, if I may ask? I live in Lewisham. Now in Spain. I lived in Lewisham, now in Spain. Not sure exactly. Salsa Inglesa is the name there. Yeah, good luck trying to get them to pronounce that word correctly, Jonathan. Read the source. No, we don't get it cheaper for being local residents or being residents, sadly. Yeah, I thought maybe there would be some type of way to nip off down to the factory there, James, and, you know, show them your ID that you're a local, and maybe you get one of those batches that maybe didn't make it to the regular bottles. You know, they might have a little bit that dripped off the side or something that they give to people locally. I thought that might be the case, but no. What else? Let's have a look here. Yeah, English sauce in Portugal too. There we go. Salsa inglesa or molho inglês. There we go. Manj coming in also from Valencia. Thumbs up. If one day I return to Valencia, you should go to Xàtiva, best castle in the area, in my opinion. Will do. Roger coming in from Bristol. G'day, Roger. What else we got going on here quickly? Pamela's in here, a bit late. Stephen's also here as well. Regular viewer and also valued member is Stephen. What else? Vaccine is unprecedented, according to Sayed. Yeah, well, in the north of Spain, you do get a lot of snow, let's be honest. Even north of Madrid, you can see snow-capped mountains. What else? What else we got going on here? Let's have a look here quickly. I'm getting through the chat here quickly because I have to push off. So Wayne's saying he'll be back in Spain in 10 days. What else we got going on here? 123 valued member, joining a bit late today. Have to listen back. Police in Spain don't police by consent, hence the difference in approach. Ditto France, try to get smart with the gendarmerie. Yeah, they have a different way of policing, that is true. I've seen the civil guard here. Normally, when you go up to a civil guard officer, they're a bit more approachable. The guys in the blue uniform, not necessarily so. And when they arrive on a scene in those vans with 10 or 12 people, with sometimes with shields and sticks, get out of the way because they're going to start hitting people, as I said before, indiscriminately, whether you are involved or not. If you're in the area, get out because you'll get hit by one of these rubber sticks. That's what I have seen, and that's whatever I see these riot vans pull up. Don't think that was the case in Lavapiés. I think they just felt that there was a dangerous situation, which is why they pulled out their sticks. But some people are crying racism, but again, I wasn't there, so I've got no idea. And Zaruk, also a regular viewer and valued member, happily watching. Glad the weather is back. Good weather is back. Got people staring already because of being overdressed in the heat today. Ande yo caliente, ríase la gente. There we go. Yeah, the weather is starting to warm up. That's right. Now, that's the end of the live stream. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I'll be back again on Thursday with another live stream. Hopefully, I'll see you guys back then. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday evening. 8:10 here, wherever you are. Have a great day. Hasta luego. Hasta entonces. Adios. Bye-bye.